Now, it's been 20 years since hip-hop jumped up on the scene. Some of you think it started with the Sugar Hill Gang. No, 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 no. It started in the heart of the Bronx, the boogie down Bronx, in the park, street jams, plugging into the light socket. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk to 3 of the pioneers of hip-hop. Reggie Reg from the Crash Crew, walking down the street with your box in your hand. Little Rodney C from the Funky 4+1, and now Double Trouble. A double trouble, what? Double, a double trouble, what? I also spoke to Kid Creole from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. They call me the Kid Creole. And I put my first question to him and asked him exactly how and when did hip-hop get started?
The first recognition that I had of hip-hop on a party scale, because Flash wasn't, when we was going to see Flash way back early in those days, he didn't have an MC and he wasn't playing at any clubs. It was house parties like that. He had the stuff in one room and the speakers, regular speakers out there, you know what I'm saying? But we used to go to see Herc play at the Executive Playhouse. Herc had the big equipment, like the, the sound system, the Herculoids, where Flash had house speakers, house turntables. Herc had a bona fide system, and he had 3 other guys with him: Coke LaRock, who was a DJ, Timmy Tim, who was also a DJ, but he said phrases on the microphone, and Clark Kent. He was my guy. Clark Kent was the guy. He wore like those horn-rimmed glasses, light-skinned kid, and he used to use the microphone. Like I used to really like Clark Kent. He would say, they would say like phrases, like nothing that would resemble a rhyme like how we do it today. It would be like, on down to the last stop. A taste of the pace with the bass in your face, like that. And my man Clark Kent would go. He would, I forget the name of the song of this song, but it was I am the magnificent. I'm backed by a son of a soul. And he would go, turning sound of soul. Quit hit tonight with the echo. Quit hit tonight, yo, boy. Woo, I used to get, talk about a charge. Oh, that was my first interpretation of what would result in the hip hop, because we didn't call it that because there was nothing to really compare it to. But that was, my first, you really couldn't even call it hip hop. It was just that music.
So how did the term hip-hop come around?
Cowboy, at one time, there was a friend of ours who was going to, he was going off to the Army. And Cowboy was mimicking that march. Hip, hop, like that. But we still didn't coin the phrase then. But because those bourgeois disco types wanted to look down on us, they called us hip-hoppers. And that's where the phrase basically came from. It was meant to be derogatory. So they called us hip-hoppers, like that. But then it just evolved into hip-hop.
I remember Rodney was over here talking about how hip-hop spread throughout, like just throughout the boroughs, throughout the Bronx, everything. How did you expand on that, Rodney? You gave me a nice
All right, well, hip-hop started in the Bronx. And hip-hop traveled the route of the train. So it went from the Bronx to Manhattan, from Manhattan to Brooklyn, from Brooklyn to Queens, because they're the same landmass. And then people in Staten Island, they got it because they had family that lived in New York, lived in Manhattan or lived in the Bronx or wherever. And when they came over in the summertime for, the picnics or whatever, you know how you got to get away from your people from sometimes. And then they would come over, and then they would hear, oh, what's that? Oh, we going to a jam, because that's what we used to call it. We're going to the jam. You know what I mean? And then you go to the jam, and then you see it. Now this is your first taste of the DJ. And then, like Creole said, there was no MCs, at that point.
That was the Bronx. And I know you're from Uptown, the Crash Crew and all that. So he said via the train. How did that train ride come to?
Next stop.
We came through Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, Funky 4+1 More, Grand Wizard Theodore, and DJ Africa Bambaataa, Zulu Nation. And we definitely took it from there, you know what I'm saying? It was like something good just happened, you know what I'm saying? Here it is, like it was a small community that had something to express, you know what I'm saying, express themselves and stuff in their music and stuff. And it came from the Bronx, definitely from the Bronx to New York, and that's definitely what did it. After that, it went worldwide.
I'm going 4-ball back here, Reg.
All right. So, Rodney, my question is you. What do you think was the critical point in hip-hop that made hip-hop what it is today?
The critical point in hip-hop, I would have to say wax. When hip-hop went from the streets to cassettes, from cassettes throughout the metropolitan, and then somebody in a record company saying, we can make money off that. That was a critical turning point in hip-hop, because what it did was it took it to the next level, and it opened up hip-hop to a general market, even though the world wasn't ready for hip-hop.
That's when we came into the picture, because it definitely was records. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody had tapes, everybody was a DJ, but if you made a record, you was definitely a star. You know what I'm saying? That was like 1980, 81. Sugar Hill Gang came out with Worldwide, blew the whole spot, and that's when everybody was on rap.
Let's say the future of Kid Creole. I mean, what is it that you're doing now? You know, what is it that you plan on doing? And maybe even a revitalization of the Furious Five.
Me, myself, I have a love for hip-hop, and I never really put myself in a position where I walked away from it. Circumstances just dictated that because I was a part of a group, following the group and wanting the group to stay together, I put myself in a position where I went down with that ship. I'm still trying to be active in a small part of the industry because I still have aspirations of, just like how you was talking about the quote-unquote old school and the new school, and how we supposedly influenced them. Well, they influence me now.
Right now, I'm working on a compilation, right? We got an old school compilation with all the old school artists and new school artists. You know what I'm saying? You got the Fearless with Jay-Z, not with Jay-Z. Yeah, the Fearless I think is with Jay-Z, the Crash Crew, CL Smooth, the Funky Four with AZ. You got Jazzy Jeff with the Lost Boys. And that compilation is coming out. It's gonna be something that nobody like ever expected.
My thing today is to change the mindset of the youth. I have a newfound love for hip hop, you know what I mean? After being caught up in the politics or politricks of the business, I look at hip hop as a child that I helped to bring into the world. I helped to cultivate and mold this child. I gave life to this child, and if I'd have stayed with him, or with her, and gave her the little knowledge that I have, I think it would have been a better child. Just like a person, we have two sides. You have a good side and a bad side. And there's a good side and a bad side to hip-hop. I just would like to see more of the good side. And hip-hop is getting a negative overtone. It's getting a negative beating now. And it's not the art form that should be getting a beating. You know what I mean? And I think that if we have more positive projects for our kids to look at, you know what I mean? Then they'll understand that hip-hop is an art form and it's not a lifestyle.